This is a 5 on your side local news update.
123 Weather Impact meteorologist Gary Frank with an update here as we are preparing for our next Weather Impact Alert Day. Now, it's quiet, but Wednesday is our main focus, as it really has been the last few days, right? We've talked about how that was the more major of the two storm systems, and still, after 8 o'clock, I think that's going to be a big story as we talk about snow, sleet, freezing rain, even some rain. It's going to slow you down at the very least. The matter of how the accumulation affects you and how much is going to accumulate still is something that we're talking about right now. Of course, you'll notice the storm at the moment as we have this rain. There's snow to the north. There's nothing going on. There have been a few flurries that have actually moved in from the east, but you'll see the two air masses that were in between. Yesterday, we talked about this colder air to the north, and we're in the mid-teens here, but look at low 20s, mid-20s, and mid-30s, of course, and it's going to be the sandwich between that more Arctic air and then, of course, where we're in the mid-30s, even above freezing. And I think we'll start to nudge down a little bit, but I still expect the temps are going to go up another degree or two over the next several hours and really through this evening, through midnight, no problems whatsoever. Where our storm system comes from originates from something that I've showed you the last couple of days, the steady stream of moisture in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. We've seen that, but overall, it's just been cloud cover for us. Now we need something to tap into that moisture, lift some of this moisture and create precipitation, all types of it, and that's what this system is here. You'll see that here as it works its way over the Rockies and into the Four Corners and eventually into the Panhandle. That's going to start to drive some of that moisture, and eventually we'll see precipitation develop, and that's where we're going to see all types of things moving in. So as we're talking about the rest of the night, you'll notice it's relatively quiet. As you start off, if you're an earlier commuter, you're going to stay relatively dry, but I think once we get to 8 to 9 o'clock hour, especially if you're on the Missouri side, that's when we're going to start to see this precipitation work its way in. Temps in the low 30s here, and as a result, I think we are probably going to see, especially in Herman, Troy, areas in Bowling Green, Eolia, more snow than anything, even maybe in Rolla at that point. Just depends on how that cold air settles in. But you'll notice where we have that mix that settles in. As it works its way in, we're going to have kind of a hard and fast line, which may only be about 15 miles of where this kind of settles in. Where does this warm layer of air settle in? And keep that in mind as I illustrate that here again shortly, because I'm going to run through this, talk about why this is, and then pinpoint your area more specifically. But notice how these temperatures to the south in the 30s, and it's going to be only about a 4-degree difference, not only at the surface, but above the surface. That's going to be very important here as you'll start to see even some areas suggesting maybe some drier air in the mid-afternoon, but also some rain. And that is going to be good enough to at least maybe keep us above freezing in some cases or around freezing, which mitigates problems on the roads. But there may be a band of heavy snow that develops somewhere on the northwest side of that line. And that's where I think we'll see most of our accumulation of snow. But I just think that the fact that we're going to see that warm layer of air really is going to undercut our snowfall totals in general as a result. And when we talk about this, obviously rain is an easy one, right? We got warm air that's above freezing. We've shown you this a couple of times. But why this is so difficult and the forecast has gone back and forth to some degree is because we have general sections where the warm air layer is pretty wide. And I think for the most part, when you have those temperatures that are at 32 or maybe a little below, but we have this warm air, all that stuff melts and then refreezes. That's where it's more difficult. But then when you have more thin layers of that, you have sleet. And I just don't know that we're going to get a lot of sleet from this. We might a little bit, but I think it's very possible that we'll have times where you're seeing snow, freezing rain, and sleet just because of varying levels of that warm air throughout the entire region. So let's talk about areas to the north first. I think you're going to be the most impacted by 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. here, as you'll have temps in the 30s from Litchfield, Jerseyville, and some pretty good snow. So expect that. The snow-covered roads are absolutely going to happen in those areas. As we kind of work our way into the Metro East, you'll notice we're around freezing. Even some spots like Mount Vernon, Nashville are dealing with some of that snow. Even into Edwardsville, there's going to be that line that settles in. So I would expect to prepare for the rain, sleet, and snow. Temps near 32, right? I think we may bounce back and forth depending on where you are. And you can expect that there will be changing conditions depending on where you drive in this area. Now, as we go a little bit closer to the St. Louis area, we're talking about the same thing. It's not all that different there. It starts at 8 o'clock and probably finishes at 8 o'clock. So you got about 12 hours of this. You're going to see those slick spots develop as well. And then to the south, I think you're seeing more rain. Temps are a little warmer here at this point, and those are the isolated slick spots that we develop. So mostly rain, some light icing as we continue to focus on that over the next few days. We'll have another update in a few minutes.